Hey y'all, so I want to address the execution of Nathaniel Woods yesterday in Alabama. He was tried and convicted of capital murder when 3 police officers were killed by another man by the name of Kerry Spencer. Woods was present at the house when the murder happened, and so he was considered a conspirator and was found guilty and sentenced to death, even though he never had a gun, even though he never shot anybody, literally. And as far as we know, and his testimony and the testimony of Kerry Spencer, who actually did kill the officers, he wasn't aware. He was not complicit in any way. However, you know, the state of Alabama allowed him to be executed. Now, what's interesting about Alabama is that if you're not familiar with the 16th Street bombing, where 4 little black girls were killed, the Klansmen who were eventually, years later, decades later in some instances, found guilty, one of whom is still alive. None of them was given the death penalty, even though they took a bomb and blew up a church where 4 little girls were killed. I mean, the ways in which the death penalty is applied disproportionately to black people, and even more so to black people who kill white people, is super alarming. I am not an advocate of the death penalty. Here's why. First of all, I don't believe that the state should have the power or the right to take anybody's life. Most especially because the death penalty is really disproportionately applied to black folks in the South. So I find it kind of hard to reconcile how the state, which owned black people, which massacred indigenous people, now has some moral authority to extinguish the life of another person. You also have many instances in the death penalty where people are found innocent. Sometimes up to 20% of the people either have been found or are believed to have been guilty. The other thing is the death penalty doesn't stop people from killing folks, right? People know the death penalty exists and they still murder people. Like, it's not some mechanism that can be used to slow down murders. And for those people who identify themselves as Christians, most especially white evangelicals, I just find it hard to reconcile that these are the people who call themselves pro-lifers, who believe in the sanctity of life, and that because God has given life, the mother should under no circumstances, for the most part, extinguish that life, right, or have an abortion, even if it's a danger to her. It doesn't matter for them, rape, incest, whatever. However, they feel justified in the state killing somebody because they did something that the person feels is unforgivable, even though these are people who say they believe in grace and forgiveness and second chances and etc. I mean, the cognitive dissonance is just, it's mind-blowing, right, when I think about it. So my heart goes out. I was really moved and sad last night as I thought about Nathaniel Woods' family, his children, grandchildren, and what they were going through. And I also thought about the daughter, I believe it's the daughter or granddaughter of one of the officers who was killed, who was against this gentleman being killed, most especially because he had nothing to do with the people who were murdered. However, that's what happens. You know, in many instances, we know the criminal justice system is flawed. We know it disproportionately affects black people in very specific kinds of ways. And I just, again, am stumped when I think about the people, most people, I think it's 81% of Republicans and 47% of Democrats, something along those lines, who support capital punishment. I can't reconcile it. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't remedy anything. It doesn't stop anything. It doesn't bring down any numbers. There's really, aside from having a punitive kind of judicial system and a really old school, antiquated mentality about how you get back at folks who do something to you, I just can't understand it, like, at all. So I've never been for it. I'm against it now. I think it should be abolished in every state. I think it's just, when you think about taking someone who may or may not have committed a crime, putting them through a process, and then having them on death row for years, giving them a last meal, and then strapping them to a table and injecting them. Just the thought of it It's insane to think that this is normalized behavior in our country and that people are not outraged by it. But, I guess if you're not outraged by, wars and police shooting people unarmed and all the other things that happen in this country, I guess, murdering somebody at the power or by the authority of the state wouldn't alarm you either. I don't know who these people are, especially the ones who identify themselves as Christian. I'm confused by them on a daily basis. But I wanted to put that out there. If you have thoughts, comments, please put them below, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.